Amazon man. Oh, we're live. I just heard the Amazon man come to Lisa's house because I hear her dog barking. This is Rebel Roundup. This is our very super duper live news and opinion show, wherein we talk about the news of the day, completely unscripted. I'm your host, Sheila Gunn-Reid, and I'm joined by my friend, best friend, in Regina, Saskatchewan, Lise Merle. Lise, how's it going?
Well, hello, my darling Sheila Gunn-Reid, and hello, Canada. Today's going to be an interesting day on the show. As of right now, we are about 22 hours away from discovering what is going to happen with the Tamara Lich and Chris Barber sentencing hearing happening in Ottawa tomorrow. You're going to want to tune into tomorrow's show because we're going to have our live reaction. We should have the results in by then. But I'm feeling pretty pensive today, Sheila, about this going down in Canada right now, because it is going to expose the faults and flaws in our judicial system, perhaps.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a real, no matter what the result of that sentencing hearing, it is going to be a real telling day for the nation of Canada. And so just feeling a little on edge, just a little tiny bit on
Yeah,
edge.
me too. Efron, we're going to talk about this in the second segment of the show, but if you can dig up my tweet I sent this morning about the lady who was an ISIS bride, I want to show that for comparison, but not right now, later on in the show. My apologies to everybody who I wasn't paying attention when we went live. Efron quite literally said to me, "We're live in 5," and I forgot what I was doing in 5 solid seconds. But if you want to get involved in the show, maybe keep me on track. If you are watching us on Rumble, you can leave a Rumble rant over there. It's a paid chat. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we'll read it on air. If it's under that, we do our very best to get to it, time permitting. Same rules apply over on YouTube. Those are called super chats, but there's also a way to support us after the fact. Say you missed the live version of the show, you can leave a paid comment called a super thanks. Now, before we get into the news of the day, because the pierogi is just packed full of stuffing today, I want to tell everybody about our Rebel News birthday party coming up. It is September 18th, I believe. Efron, correct me if I'm wrong. September 18th in Calgary. It is at the Carriage House Hotel and Conference Center, which we love. September 18th, 6 o'clock. Live music, cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, meet and greet, photos with your favorite journalists. Lisa and I will be there dressed like we're going to Rebel Prom, because most of the time you see me looking like a lumberjill. So I'm going to flip the script on everybody, including myself, and overdress for this event. And I must tell you that we have added a musical guest to our event. You'll see her there right in the middle. Canada's foremost freedom fighter, Tamara Lich, who is quite a little musician in her own right. If you haven't seen her perform, you must. And if you haven't, this is your chance.
She is so delicious, just absolutely so delicious in real life. And yes, a very talented musician. This is awesome. I mean, this event just keeps getting better and better the more time goes on. So.
And if you were thinking about getting tickets, don't think about it. Just go and do it. Go to happybirthdayrebel.com. And the reason we're inviting you to what would normally be in another newsroom, a bit of a private event, it's because there's no Rebel News newsroom without you. We don't rely on the government. We would never take a penny from the government to hold them to account. How could we politically contaminate our work that way? And we are able to fight the fights and advocate for the things that we think you care about, only through your generous support, either through your financial or your moral support. Both mean a lot to us. And so we're inviting you to our party. And our 10th birthday was back in February. Couldn't stop to party then, but we think we can make some time now. I mean, we just have to make the time. And so we're inviting you. So happybirthdayrebel.com. Sheila, Lise, Tamara, Drea, Tamara Lich, David Menzies, me. I need a new headshot. And of course, Alexa Lavoie. We're all going to be there. And we can't wait to celebrate with you.
Hmm.
Right. All right. I think that's all the stuff right off the top. We'll get to the Tamara Leach, Chris Barber sentencing stuff in the second part of the show.
Mhm.
I want everybody to know, though, that we're sending the big guns. Ezra Levant will be in the courtroom. We are sending Alexa Lavoie. She'll be outside reporting on all the supporters that are coming to support Tamara and Chris in their, I think, stare down with the state and the Crown prosecutors. Doug Ford's Crown prosecutors, by the way. These are his Crown. These are not Carney's Crown. And I think our truck might also be making an appearance. Okay, so let's get into Trump on dealing with Canada. This is from Global News. Trump thinks Canadians are mean and nasty for boycotting US travel and booze. Do we have this clip?
United States, Mr. Hoekstra. Canadians stay home, but that's their business. I don't like it, but if that's what they want to do, it's fine. You want to ban American alcohol, that's fine. It doesn't necessarily send real positive signals in terms of they're treating us well. There are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with, okay, because of some of those steps. But that's Canadians' business, not mine.
He's not wrong.
The man is absolutely not wrong. And as a matter of fact, I think that he's reflecting the opinions of a great many actual Canadians as it pertains to our federal government, that they are mean and nasty, that they do awful things. They do it to us. Of course, they're doing it to the United States. It's nothing. It's nothing for our federal government to be rude and mean and nasty. That's what they are.
Carney ran an entire focused group campaign on elbows up, on fighting with the Americans, on being standoffish and adversarial with our former American friends, our best friends on
Sure
the face
did.
of the earth. They ran a campaign on it. They were anti-Americanism for anti-American for political gain. I would describe that as mean and nasty. I don't think that the ambassador is wrong in his assessment, at least of this inherent anti-Americanism coming from the Canadian center and definitely the Canadian left.
Without question. Gone are the days where Canadians had an international reputation of being nice. Okay, we were 20 years ago. Every Canadian used to stitch the. Remember when people used to stitch the Canadian bag on their backpack when they would travel
Yeah.
internationally to signal just how nice they were, but that they were from a country that was just so pleasant to deal with.
Right.
You do that now, and you're apt to get your butt kicked in an airport internationally. Gone are the days where we can consider ourselves uh, uh, nice a nice country to be from. No, this is the reputation that 10 years of having the Liberal Party of Canada as our government has got us. This is the result. We are now
You know,
known as mean and nasty on the international stage.
and
Awesome.
you know what? I've said for a very long time when people say, "Oh, Canadians are they're so nice." No, we're passive aggressive. You're
Yes.
reading us wrong. We're smug, and I mean we as the royal we. I don't mean me, I don't mean Lise. But as a rule, Canadians are smug and uppity, and
Mhm.
snooty and passive aggressive, and people misread it as nice.
Mhm.
I think our reputation of being nice is not well deserved, at
No,
least
it's not.
lately.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. No.
Now, David Eby, one of Canada's most anti-American politicians, he takes umbrage with these remarks. I think we have a clip of this. Oh, look, interesting turn of phrase he's using there.
Oh, is it ever? I'm old enough to remember when somebody saying something like that would get them 3 years, a 3-year multi-million dollar trial for mischief for
Right.
using those words exactly right there. So David Eby says, let's hold the line.
And he says it to David Cochrane, I believe. That's that boiled egg of a man right there. Um, He is, and I betcha, I haven't watched this clip, but I betcha David Cochran, the federal government sycophant, doesn't even point out, hey, that phrase is illegal around these parts. Let's listen to this clip. It's a
Yes.
minute and 10 of just anti-American rhetoric.
Sense of, do the Americans sort of get it? I ask this because, you know, we've seen some comments from the U.S. ambassador to Canada sort of justifying the president's characterization of Canadians as mean and nasty in the negotiations, you know, expressing frustration over the retaliatory measures like hauling booze off shelves, you know, which you've done in BC. I mean, what's your sense of just the depth of the understanding the Americans have about sort of the offense that has been done to Canada here?
You know, I really think that at the leadership levels, there's very little awareness. The ambassador specifically said that Canadians were mean and nasty for not buying American alcohol and for boycotting the U.S. in terms of travel. And at the same time, like, do they think that Canadians are not going to respond when the president says, I want to turn you into the 51st state and beggar you economically unless you you bow to the U.S.? Like, obviously, Canadians are outraged. I say Canadians stick with it, like, hold the line. But at the end of the day, we need to get past that. When the Americans come up to visit in British Columbia, they're saying things like, I'm sorry. Like, we're friends, we're neighbors, we're partners. Canadians feel the same way about everyday Americans. And I think the president is really out on his own on this.
Is this the same jerk who wanted to put tolls on the Alaska Highway through British Columbia on American truckers headed north to Alaska? That's the same guy who's like, no, we're friends and the Americans shouldn't talk bad about this. He was going to tariff American truckers on the highway the Americans paid to build.
Yes, he was. He was also amongst the first Canadian premiers to rip all American liquor off the shelves in British Columbia and come out swinging against the Americans. The American, you know, is really funny because he's criticizing what the American ambassador to Canada is saying, whereas the American ambassador to Canada is like, sorry about that terrible, awful, accurate thing I said about you, Canada. David Eby and Doug Ford are in a foot race to see who can be the most out of touch premier in the entire province. And I would say right now, as of this minute, we're going to talk about Doug Ford later, but right now, as of this minute, David Eby holds the crown for the most out of touch premier in the entire country.
I guess it sucks that Hoekstra was talking directly about David Eby.
Yeah.
You know, like when he's saying you're mean and nasty because you did this petty stuff about taking our booze off the shelves, he's talking about you.
Yeah. And David Eby. The funniest thing is David Eby lacks the self-awareness to know that they are actually talking about him. So I can't wait to see this devolve in the media. I can't wait to see the American ambassador to Canada hear what David Eby just said. And hopefully it'll get to Trump, and Trump will drop a hammer on David Eby to teach him his lesson. Again, David Eby is the same guy that just commissioned the Chinese to build a whole bunch of ferries for British Columbia. So is he the best arbiter?
He's the guy who pulled American booze off the shelves, but then commissioned the Chinese to build BC ferries.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like, the self-awareness is completely absent. Next time, Ambassador Hoekstra is going to have to finish the sentence and then, like, say, semicolon, David Eby. So that he gets that we're talking about you.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't understand.
Yeah, David Eby says, hold the line, and the Americans are going to say, hold my beer, and punish him into oblivion. And it couldn't happen to a better person. Truly, it couldn't happen to a better person than David Eby.
Yep. Now we've got an Alaskan senator being asked about Trump's teasing, I think. I think it's teasing because there's no possible way he would want all of us. Like, you don't want Vancouver, you don't want Ottawa.
Absolutely not.
You don't want Toronto. Reporter asking Alaskan senator about Canada as the 51st state.
Senator Murkowski, if I could just ask you, you mentioned you're the 49th. You don't want to sort of move down that list. You want to respect the borders. How do you explain the rhetoric that we continue to hear from the from the president? And how do you explain to Republicans now what Canadians feel? And do you think you can help sort of turn the tide to maybe get more people on your side of the border?
I cannot explain President Trump's rhetoric about the 51st state. That is his statement, but I think it has been made very, very clear that most view that as nothing more than a positioning statement, if you will, something to maybe agitate. I don't think that that's constructive, quite honestly. Certainly here in Canada, you can sense that there is a direct hostility, if you will, to that suggestion. So my advice to the president, not that he will take it willingly, is that constructive dialogue is going to be what reinforces this long-standing relationship between these two countries, where you have a 5,000-mile border, where you have shared interests, shared values. So suggesting things that you know are really not within the realm of the possible are not necessarily.
Just hold on one sec so I can just add to them. 4 senators here. Both political parties spent the morning working to build bridges, not throw wrenches.
So how likely is a deal by August 1st? How likely is a deal by August 1st between the White House?
Okay, well, first of all, this is Alaskan Senator Lisa Murkowski. She is a Republican senator from the state of Alaska. She's been serving as a senator since 2002, so she is well ingrained in the inner mechanisms of Washington, D.C. But where she lands on the political scale is to the left of is to the left end of the Republican Party. This is a person that defended keeping NPR and public media funded in the United States most recently, and she's a person who has a lot to say, and when she says it, it comes off as well as somebody from the left. This is what I'll say about Lisa Murkowski. But we have to question, why would Lisa Murkowski be opposed to Canada being the 51st state? And the reason is because it would be in direct conflict with all of Alaska's major industries. So we got forestry, we got oil and gas, we have natural resources. This is what Alaskans do for a living. And if Canada joined the 51st state, well, that would put us in competition with Lisa Murkowski's electorate. And so when we're listening to people, we must also dig into where they're from and what they stand to lose. But this is the opinion of one very minor Republican senator from Alaska.
Yeah, she's not from the Trump wing of the Republican Party.
No, she's not.
And the other guy there is Ron Wyden. He's a Democrat from Oregon. Okay,
yeah.
so...
Yeah, they do. She's one of these politicians that does a lot of work across the aisle. That puts a great deal of importance on working bilaterally with the Democratic Party, and a lot of the things that she says are very left-leaning. So just keep that in mind.
Yep. Now we've got Mark Carney addressing the premiers. He's saying we're looking for the best deal for Canada.
Sure.
And we're only going to accept the best deal for Canada on the U.S. trade negotiations, which time's ticking. August 1st.
Well, we've heard this for the past 4 months, but do go on, Mark Carney. Let's listen.
Tell us how you're looking for the best deal for Canada.
We will have a discussion on the current state of negotiations with the United States. I will say that, as you are aware, our senior ministers, my chief of staff, myself, were engaged in continuous discussions. Minister LeBlanc will be reinforcing those discussions over the next few days in Washington with the United States. We are looking for the best deal for Canada. We're only going to accept the best deal for Canada. That is very much informed by our discussions. We understand as well that we all understand that the global trade environment is changing, and there are some countries that are pulling back, that are restricting market access. But there's even more countries that are opening up to market access, and the premiers have helped lead this with individual trade initiatives to Asia, to Europe, with partners around the world, we are building on those, and part of what we will discuss is how we can be best coordinated to building positive trade relationships with reliable partners.
I don't think so, Mark. Canada is going to get whatever trade agreement Trump levels at us. I think that's how it's going to go. And the holdup here is supply management, but nobody is allowed to talk about that Soviet-style nonsense that punishes farmers wanting to enter the market, makes it nearly impossible. And most of those farmers are from the West, and drives up costs for consumers, hurting the least amongst us the most. But that's not on the table. And it is the sacred cow, sacred dairy cow. And here we are. We're all of our other industries are going to get screwed because of this, and nobody wants to even try to dismantle it.
Exactly that. And I just do want to point out how tanned and rested Mark Carney looks. Isn't it nice that Mark Carney gets to go on holidays?
Wimbledon will do that to a dude.
Just come back looking all tanned and rested and ready to go. But he did say that he's giving this to Dominic LeBlanc, who has yet to be able to figure anything out for the country of Canada as it pertains to negotiating with the United States. But there is a reason, Sheila. There is a reason why the government of Canada is kicking the can down the field and dragging its heels as it pertains to getting a trade agreement with the United States. And that is simply because the more time that it takes to nail down a trade agreement with the United States, the more time Mark Carney's government has to negotiate with his friends in Europe. Okay. So every day that we don't have an active trade agreement with the United States gives them more opportunity to figure out their new European relationship with our European cousins, because according to Mark Carney, Canada is the most European non-European nation. So we're just going to keep a real keen eye on these talks with the other countries that we're forging these relationships with, while at the same time pointing out the duplicity of the government of Canada as it pertains to the carbon footprint of trading with nations that are literally across the world.
Right. While Mark Carney being an advisor previously to the Prime Minister, who said there's actually no business case for us to trade with the likes of Japan, Greece, when it comes to our liquefied natural gas. Let's also not forget that those trade deals with the Europeans are held up by the same issue. CETA, which is our Canadian-European trade agreement.
Yes.
Negotiated, I think, 2017, 2018, still held up. Why? Supply management.
Yes. Yeah. We got all those cartels that need protecting, Sheila, the dairy cartels, the ones with a couple thousand votes in Quebec that are so important to the Liberal Party of Canada. We must uphold those guys while Western producers suffer and languish and go broke.
Yeah. And people who are arguing in favor of the dairy cartel, have you been to other countries? Have you looked in the dairy section of other countries?
They are so vast. Like going to the United States of America and just seeing their sour cream assortments. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Just enough to make my heart beat fast.
I know. And what in Canada we've got Dairy World, Lucerne, and Co-op Gold. And I'm like, ooh, Co-op Gold.
Wow, that's 20 cents cheaper. My goodness.
You feel like you've come into some money if you can get
pennies. It's a true story. This is where we're at, Canada.
I know.
This is where we're at.
People who are saying like, oh, Americans put hormones in their dairy. Don't even get me started on hormones in food. If you cared about hormones in food, you wouldn't eat anything with soy in it. You wouldn't even eat cabbage, but you have fallen for propaganda. And I'm someone who cares deeply about the things that I eat and hormonal regulation, definitely. But you know what you would have? Choice.
That's right.
So you could opt to buy Canadian dairy if you wanted to, if you believed the hormonal propaganda. You could opt to buy Canadian dairy, or you could let poor people buy whatever dairy they wanted.
Yes.
Or fancy people buy whatever boutique cheeses that they wanted. but
yes,
we don't have that in Canada. We have
all it's gonna
government-run cheese.
Well, that's exactly right. And all it's going to take is a recession for some of these companies that are part of the cartel to fail anyway. Okay, to fail anyway. Fiscal mismanagement by the government always leads to a failure of private companies. And then when that happens, that's when we're going to find ourselves in food lineups
Yeah.
to get your sour cream, to get your cheese, to get your eggs, to get your milk, to get your whatever. Supply management puts us on a fast track for complete collapse of our system.
Yeah.
Our buying opportunities in Canada.
Yeah, well, while you're struggling to make ends meet, these guys just dump more milk. That's what they do.
We don't need this. Nobody needs this.
God, no.
We'll just put it down the drain.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And don't send me the anti-farmer letters because I don't want to hear it.
Nobody loves farmers more than us.
Nope.
It's a true fact.
Doug Ford. He was thrilled to meet with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. This is his ex-post. To extend our agreement. So they have a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding about energy projects.
Mm-hmm.
To extend our agreement to include Premier Scott Moe of Saskatchewan to build pipelines, rail lines, and trade corridors to move Ontario critical minerals and Western Canadian oil and gas to new markets. Okay, that's all wonderful until we hit Quebec or BC.
That's right.
So we'll just trade in between like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, because Wab Canoe seems like normal on this stuff for an NDPer, and Doug Ford. But what happens when we go through Quebec? We get stalled and we can't go through BC. So
that's right.
Thanks, guys. Great, but like great in theory, but in practice, no needles are moved.
This exact post from Doug Ford is the exact thing I'm talking about when I talk about political grandstanding and selfie culture in politics. So what this is a whole bunch of words that actually don't mean a whole lot. That, you know how when politicians get upset at other politicians and they write strongly worded letters? Okay, when they're happy with other politicians, they do selfie posts like this. And this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example. So will this hash out to mean anything meaningful to the people of Alberta, Saskatchewan, or Ontario? We'll have to wait to see exactly how this will benefit us. Yeah.
I'm not confident when we don't have the rest of the country on board and we don't have a prime minister who's willing to force the rest of the country to meet their obligations under Confederation. Because if we can block trade, like it's one thing to have the federal government throw up trade barriers amongst us as provinces, but it's another thing to have the provinces themselves block trade. We may as well be just a bunch of Balkan states then, which is, I mean, don't threaten me with a good time.
Basically what we have. No, I'm so happy you said that because the prime minister of the country could force team other provinces to get on board with this. Okay, the prime minister could declare, listen, we're all getting along, we're all playing nice starting now, including you, Quebec, and we're all just going to get on board and we're all going to trade with each other. We're going to knock down the trade barriers. And he has not done that. Mark Carney has not done that. What he has done is a bunch of glowing posts, social media, selfie times, to brag that they're meeting about it, but it hasn't actually gotten any results as of yet.
Yeah. No, and it still doesn't at the end of the day deal with BC and Quebec. When BC and Quebec are signing these MOUs with us,
then we'll have pom-poms. Then we might get pom-poms though. But until then, okay, another meeting. Okay, good for you guys. Where were they meeting? It wasn't over Zoom. I'll tell you that for free. Okay,
I think it was at Huntsville, Ontario, at the First Minister's meeting.
At a fancy resort? I bet you it was at a fancy resort. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, Carney is there. It's the First Minister's meeting. It's in Huntsville. You know who's also simultaneously there? David Eby and I forget his name, in charge of Quebec. Those guys could have been there signing that thing, but they definitely aren't, making this thing all but meaningless.
Huh. Well, it's a good thing Canadian taxpayers sent all of the premiers on a 5-star five-star vacation to get nothing done. Real great.
Yeah.
Real great. Awesome. Remember that when you're spending 2 weeks in your in-laws' basement for your holidays, Canada.
Right.
Remember this.
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna skip a few things here just for time, but while we're ragging on Doug Ford for being just a butt kisser who doesn't do the hard things, he's praising Mark Carney in this X post. You know, he's praising Mark Carney like Mark Carney praises Trump. It's almost like a hostage video. Let's see it.
We don't have to take a back seat to anyone in the world, and we sure the heck don't have to take a back seat to President Trump. Again, Prime Minister, I want to thank you for joining us for this FMM. It's refreshing to some of us that have been around this table for some time to have a Prime Minister that has our backs, that are out there. He's a great community builder, and he's a brilliant businessman. And I'm confident that he's going to take the business approach to our federal government that we haven't seen for a long time. So thank you very much, everyone. And I guess let's get started. We don't have...
Wait. God, that's the
Stop
sound
it.
of...
He's already married, Doug. God.
He doesn't like you that way, Doug. Settle down.
You know, like
Doug's
we're just...
gotta...
Once again, we're all just supposed to forget that it was Mark Carney who advised Justin Trudeau to make all those bad decisions for the economy for 10 years. We're just supposed to forget that? I guess so.
Well, and to label him a brilliant businessman.
He's not a businessman.
He's not a businessman. He's a lifelong public servant who then used his relationships that he gained within the public service to benefit Brookfield. That doesn't make somebody a brilliant businessman. That makes him shisty. That makes him a brilliant shyster. That's what it does. Yeah.
Yeah, he's greasy. He's greasy. He used his connections to enrich himself while making Canadians poorer.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Doug's got a lady boner for the Prime Minister. Look at it. Just look at it. It's embarrassing.
Oh, it sounds almost as suck-up-y as when Carney is kissing Trump's butt.
Oh, there's nobody that's done it better, Trump. There's nobody.
You're just so here. I'm here for your leadership. No one has led us the way that you have.
Just gross. So anyway, Canadian taxpayers, your tax dollars paid for that circle jerk to happen in Huntsville, Ontario. Just awesome.
In the meantime, Stellantis, the Canadian, they've built it. It's the parent company of Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, Fiat. They've got a nearly $4 billion loss in the first half of 2025. And the Stellantis Brampton assembly plant is idled. 3,000 people out of work. This was heavily subsidized. The rest of Canada heavily subsidized all these plants. And then here we are. They're going broke and they're blaming Trump's tariffs. But these heavily subsidized auto sector projects were running into problems long before Trump came along and started hitting everybody with steel tariffs.
And yet, with all of those public subsidies, because these are your taxpayer funds, Canada, with all of those subsidies and every benefit that could possibly be bought, it still couldn't make a go of it. Like looking at Canadian auto manufacturing and EV plants, especially as it pertains to green and sustainable projects, as it pertains to the auto sector, it is just going to fail, just like the mainstream media, because when they get taxpayer funds, when they get subsidies from the government, there is no impetus for them to develop an innovative product that people want. That's the craziest thing. It stifles innovation and it stifles excellence within the industry. And so we're just going to see this over and over again, wherever the federal government shovels money at an initiative, whether it be auto manufacturers, or whether it be the mainstream media, or whether it be gender activists and lobbyists, it will fail. Eventually, it will fail.
Yeah. And this is 2 years ago data. So there's been more subsidies and then more bankrupting after that. 2 years ago, 2023, 28.2 billion in EV battery production subsidies, governments to break even in 20 years. This is from the Parliamentary Budget Office. These are subsidies that went to Stellantis and then to Volkswagen. And that's from 2023. More subsidies came in since then, and more of these companies started to go broke.
More failures. Sure.
Northvolt got a bunch of money from the Canadian taxpayer, and then Northvolt is going broke in its home country. So anyways, they can blame Trump's tariffs all they want, but this happened way before.
It's the involvement of the federal government and the reliance on taxpayer supplied subsidies that will guarantee the destruction of an industry, just like we're watching here, and in every place that government subsidies are offered as help. If the government comes in and offers to help with bags of money, just know that you're eventually going to fail.
Let's go ahead to some more of this anti-American nonsense, because we just saw they're blaming these heavily subsidized auto manufacturers going broke, not on the fact that these are companies making vehicles nobody wants. But our Americanism, or anti-Americanism, is now affecting the musicians we allow to perform in this country. So this is residents want MAGA musicians concert at Parks Canada historic site canceled. I thought the national parks belonged to all of us and not the left-wing losers in and around the towns. So some residents, what does that mean? 2 losers? 2, you know, there's no small number that is too small for CBC to report on when it's a local crank. Some residents are calling on Parks Canada to cancel a performance by U.S. singer and rising star in the MAGA movement at a National Historic site near Halifax. Christian rocker. Oh, so he's got 2 ticks against him. He's Christian and he's MAGA.
And the Americans like him. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Fucht, I think, has a concert scheduled for Wednesday night at the York Redoubt, National Historic Site, a fortification constructed in 1793 to help protect the port city. It sits on a cliff overlooking the harbor. Fucht, who unsuccessfully ran for U.S. Congress as a Republican in 2020, is also a missionary and an author who is outspoken against the 2 SLGBTQ+. I wish they could just standardize the acronym so I could train my mouth to say it. Community, abortion rights, and critical race theory on his website. Some local censor says, I want to know how this got approved in the first place. Well, you're not supposed to have a litmus test for who gets to use the provincial or national parks. How's that? They belong to all Canadians, and all Canadians can, regardless of their politics, have a right to be in that park.
That's exactly right. So for anybody that wants to listen to this gent's music, his last name is spelled Feucht. You can find him on Spotify. He's got hundreds and hundreds, actually millions of listens. He's got an entire catalog of songs. And you know what? I'm going to be, just because these cranks, just because these cranks complain about him, this is going to be my afternoon listen. And I encourage you all to do the exact same. Support people, support artists when they come out on the other side. You know what? If Nicki Minaj was gonna perform at Halifax, like WAP, okay, if she was gonna perform, nobody would be complaining, and the CBC would not be covering it. But this guy who comes with a hopeful message, which comes with a Christian message, well, then that's enough to put him on their target list. Like, isn't it just so great?
Oh, yeah. I hope Kid Rock comes and opens for him now. I hope that when they try to censor these guys, you get more. Like, you're going to get Kid Rock now, and you're going to get, well, but Ted Nugent's going to show up too now.
That's right.
That's just in my wildest dreams. I would love that. But it doesn't stop with the local cranks, because there's plenty of those everywhere you go.
Yes.
Sharon Maidema, the Liberal MP for the area, did not make herself available for an interview with CBC. That's could be the most shocking part of this.
Huh?
In an email to a resident that was provided to CBC News, Maidema says she's urging Parks Canada to cancel the concert after hearing from several constituents. Several, what does that mean?
2 or 3. 2 or 3 from the same house. Yeah, they're probably in a throuple.
Yeah. So this is what she writes. I have the utmost respect for the value of free speech. No, you don't, because what you say next says to me that you don't. I do not believe this event aligns with Parks Canada's core values of respect for people, equity, diversity, inclusion and integrity, the email read. And she said she's working with the appropriate parties to ensure the concert doesn't proceed. If it does go ahead, residents say they'll protest the event. Okay, fine. Protest the event. Do that, but don't censor.
Yeah. I do hope that the people of Halifax show up in humongous numbers to support this kid. So he's called on the government for government policy in the United States to be based on traditional Christian values in the midst of a, quote, spiritual war, unquote, in the country. And I can't say that that's the first time I've heard that kind of terminology, but to come from an artist, this goes against the grain, like without question. This is an against the grain performer, and Halifax is lucky to be getting them. Like, I hope the people of Halifax show up en masse to support this kid.
Can we show the picture of the several outraged residents?
Oh God, I want to see. Let's see.
It's in there's 5 of them. The cats are on their own today. And this looks like a Birkenstock aficionados Facebook group.
These people moonlight as 2S LGBTIA plus parade. What am I trying to say? Like the participants, parade participants. These are parade participants right here. Look at them.
These are your typical standard retired public sector leftists with too much time on their hands, and no one around them has the guts to tell them that their herbal deodorant is failing them.
You guys all know. You guys all just. You guys all just went, I know one of those. Like, I absolutely know one of those.
There's definitely a librarian in the mix here.
Without question. Yes, a QP pensioner. That's exactly right.
Hundo P, buddy. Okay, let's hit an ad break. We'll come back and talk about Gary Ananda Sangari. He's the worst.
He's the worst.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same rhetoric.
We will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of assault-style firearms.
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted. While criminals run wild under liberal policy. But we are fighting back. By delaying and dismantling unjust legislation, by confronting policy at its source, like on the global stage at the United Nations, through our unmatched record of political lobbying and our Save Firearms program, actively saving firearms from government crushers in real time. And we're not done yet. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
Canadians know the national anthem. They stand in silence to remember those who died for this country. But not every Canadian knows their rights and freedoms. The Freedom Passport will change that. It looks and feels like a Canadian passport, but contains the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in a portable, easy-to-read format. The Freedom Passport. Order one for yourself and for all the freedom lovers that you love at freedompassport.ca.
Alberta powers Canada, but Ottawa keeps limiting our potential. The Alberta Next panel wants your ideas to strengthen our sovereignty within a united Canada. Help decide what's next for Alberta. Visit alberta.ca/next.
Okay, let's get into the next thing here. What do we got? Gary Nandasangri. He was going back to 2014. So roll back the hands of time, 11 years. The Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry issues a statement saying, you know that guy you just nominated to run for the Liberal Party as a guaranteed winner in his riding, Gary Nandasangri, he's a lawyer for Tamil terrorists. And you guys probably shouldn't sign his nomination papers. And they expressed some real concerns, although they also explicitly said why the Liberal Party would sign those nomination papers. And it was that he was able to raise an incredible amount of money from the Tamil community. So money talks. Liberals would do anything for money and power. And so even if it means making Canadians less safe. So roll ahead. Despite all the other people that Mark Carney could have picked to be the public safety minister, I mean, look who our immigration minister is, Lena Diab or whatever. She has no clue what she's doing. So competency isn't a concern for Mark Carney. You can just pick anybody out of the ether and make them the immigration minister.
It's not a prerequisite. No, competency is not a prerequisite in this government. No.
Well, I know that is all that is to say that I doubt that Gary Nandasangri is competent at all. But for some reason, that reason being money from the Tamil community, Mark Carney has selected Gary Nandasangri to be his public safety minister, the minister in charge of terrorism. And now he's had to recuse himself from files related to the Tamil Tigers based on his past advocacy. Now it's come out that he wrote 2 separate letters supporting a member of the Tamil Tigers. I should note, an outlawed terror organization in this country. So akin to writing a letter of support for a member of ISIS. He did that on 2 separate occasions, and now he's saying it's routine. Oh, it is? Let's watch that video. Routine. Is it? Do we not know?
I am practiced as a lawyer. I was completed my legal education 20 years ago. I was called to the bar in 2016. I have a fairly good understanding of what the legal implications are and also the framework in which we work, which includes that as members of parliament, we do have a duty to advocate, and that is the context in which this letter was given.
Actually, Gary, it's not within the job description of any member of parliament to advocate for terrorists. I checked. I went and checked, and it's not in the job description, not anywhere. Gary Nandasangri is the exact kind of terrible, awful bureaucrat that would do awful things that go completely against the good nature and beliefs of the electorate, and just shrug his shoulders and be like, I was just doing my job. I was just doing my job. I was just doing my job. Yeah, it was a terrorist, but I was just doing my job, you see? The worst kind of bureaucrat.
Okay, but I watched this and I was like, maybe it is routine for the Liberals to intervene on immigration cases of people tied to terror groups. Like, and not just tied to terror groups, but this guy was a member of the Tamil Tigers. So are the Liberals now, excuse me, are they writing letters of support for members of Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Qaeda, ISIS? How are these guys getting into the country? Are the Liberals intervening on their behalf directly? Is it, in fact, if we take Gary at his word, is it in fact a routine thing that the Liberal MPs are doing? I think it might be.
It very well might be something that they do without getting busted for it. You know what I mean? Like if we started to look a little bit closer, and maybe we should, Sheila Gunn Reid, maybe we should, about some of the behaviors of these installed liberal elites to see what they've been doing behind our backs. Maybe this is something that's acceptable in their elite circles. Maybe it is. And it sounds like that's what he's saying is normal. Although on the surface, this is not acceptable to any Canadian voter. No Canadian voter would be
this
like,
isn't normal in a real country, but this could be normal behavior for the Liberals.
Forgivable behavior for the Liberals. Sure.
Standard.
Do it as long as nobody catches you. Well, I think Gary just got caught, and this is what puts him in a sticky position, being the public safety minister for the nation.
Right.
Let's not forget that his dad was a very, very high-ranking politician in Sri Lanka going back to the 1970s before they immigrated, I think, to Ireland and then to Canada.
I'm going to bump ahead just for the sake of continuity, because I'm going to go back to that article of the terrorist in a second, because I think it ties in. But let's move ahead to the longest ballot scam in Alberta. It was just last week, I think it was over 100 fake, completely fake challengers to Pierre Poilievre in Battle River Crowfoot. Now I think it's up to 140. Completely fake. You only need 100 people to sign to say, yeah, you should be a candidate. So now we got 140. These people, if indeed they are all real, and I don't think some of them are, and I'm pretty sure nobody's checking, they could all stand in a room and just sign each other's nomination papers, and then that would be it. Then you're on the ballot. But Pierre Poilievre, so they've got 132 names. I think he's facing 140 challengers at this point. Some are independent, some are, NDPers, Christian Heritage, whatever. But most of them are organized by the Longest Ballot Initiative. And Poilievre is writing to Stephen McKinnon, who's the leader of the government in the House, and he says, "We're writing to demand action against a blatant abuse of our democratic system. The so-called Longest Ballot Committee," which I think is just one guy who works for the federal government, by the way, has once again declared its intent to flood the ballot, this time with over 200 names in the Battle River Crowfoot by-election. They've already registered more than 100 in the last federal election. They were behind 85 of the 91 candidates in Carleton. This is electoral interference, completely.
Yes. Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things that I read, and I didn't note it at the time, and I wish I would have, is that one of the prerequisites for registering a person on a ballot is to have a chief electoral officer. So this is somebody that takes care of your campaign, or your campaign officer. And one of the prerequisites to that is that every person on the ballot must have a valid bank account. Well, did all of these 100 fake, maybe fake independent candidates that are signed up to appear on the ballot, do they all have bank accounts? Do they all? Like, have all of the boxes been checked, or has Elections Canada crapped the bed on this again? And why is this even being allowed to happen? Why is this even being allowed to happen? We know that public servants are interfering in the election in this manner. So why hasn't Elections Canada shut it down?
If you go through the list of names, and I think our Sid Fizzard and Angelica Toy are working on a story on this.
Or are they?
I'm fully convinced that those aren't real names. Like, there's one person that's like, I need Islam. Like they're not, it's like
so these aren't actual people.
They're like, and I don't think Elections Canada will be checking. Like this is, some of these names are like the Bart Simpson prank calls Mo Sislak names. Like they're not.
Oh,
and so
is that right?
I don't know how much of this is, I don't know what Elections Canada is doing. I know that they don't count the ballots that they get, and I know Elections Canada workers don't turn over the ballots when they have them. And I know they cause chaos wherever they're in charge of elections. I think they're mishandling, probably flipped a riding by one vote in Quebec. Now they're just sitting on their hands while this happens for a second time to the same guy.
This tweet from Ryan Garrettson is super interesting. So he posted this 3 days ago. He said, the founder of the longest ballot committee, who was targeting Pierre Poilievre in Battle River Crowfoot, got the courts in 2017 to drop the $1,000 deposit requirement to run in elections. I say it's time to bring it back. So here we have a public servant who has been interfering in Canadian elections since 2017, and Elections Canada has done nothing to stop it?
No.
Oh, Canada, we are in a world of hurt. Like really, our public institutions, there's a reason why nobody trusts them. There is a reason. So why hasn't anybody shut this kid down since 2017? How many elections has he been allowed to interfere in
and who's
this manner?
helping him? Who's helping him? We are to believe that this is just one weaponized nerd somewhere?
Sheila,
sorry, no.
This has a vapid union activism written all over it.
I want to know if money's changing hands.
Let's do.
You know what I mean? Is money? This is the kind of stuff, like the Chinese were able to bus in foreign students from another riding into Handong's riding. Where is anybody following the money? If nobody has that's one of the reasons you need a bank account, a separate bank account, or you should, to be able to run as a candidate, because you need to see the money coming in and coming out.
Yes.
Is this, we don't know if this is foreign influenced. We don't know if this is union influenced. I don't know if this kid is paying people to put their name on the ballot and be paper candidates. What is the elections commissioner doing around here?
Okay, well, let me just put all of your fears to rest, Sheila Gunn Reid, because while this is happening, since 2017 in Canada, interfering with, you know what, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We'll see how many longest ballot committees has interfered in how many elections in Canada. But while this is all ongoing, Elections Canada, I want you to know, is so important. In March this year, put out a statement, a call to action against racism for equity and
okay, they've got their eye on the prize.
I'm not kidding. So while this is happening, while our elections are being interfered with by probably crazy vapid union activists, Elections Canada is committed to creating an equitable, diverse, and inclusive workspace where all feel welcome. To accomplish this, we've implemented new governance around equity, inclusion, and anti-racism and harassment. This includes designation of senior officials for employment, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and accessibility and prevention of resolution of workplace harassment and violence in collaboration with Elections Canada Head of Human Resources. A 7-year strategy has been developed. So instead of dealing with the issue of election interference via the longest ballot committee since 2017, they've gone, nothing to see here, but we must deal with the harassment and violence within our workplace. Like, my God, Canada.
75% of the words you just read gave me a headache.
Sorry.
It's just nonsense.
This is from the Elections
It's like
Canada
a different
website.
language. I realize that all of those words are English, but in the combinations that you use them, it feels like I'm being spoken to by an alien.
Elections Canada is committed to recruiting from diverse communities, developing members for employment equity-seeking groups, and retaining employees from equity-seeking groups by creating an inclusive culture. This DEI is what's important to Elections Canada, not election integrity. Isn't that insane?
And honestly, this makes the legitimate NDP and Liberal candidates against Poilievre a little bit less safe at the door. Because when somebody turns up and says, "Oh, hi, I'm here, I'm running against Pierre Poilievre," you're going to get a friggin' earful at the door now.
Sure.
Because you're like, "Oh, are you from the longest ballot committee, or are you just someone who's not from around these parts?"
Right.
And you think you can earn a Liberal vote around here.
Sure.
You don't know. And so while the Liberals are sort of rubbing their stupid little hands together about making the race a little more difficult for Poilievre and Battle River Crowfoot, they're actually selling their own people up the river.
This is just it is truly an insane time to live in Canada. Yes,
Yeah.
it just is.
I'm not sure what the elections commissioner does around here.
Well, he's committed to DEI, Sheila. Not election integrity. Of course not. Of course not. Elections will run themselves, is the opinion of the elections commissioner. Let's create a 7-year equity plan for DEI instead of making sure that our elections aren't being interfered with. It is crazy. It is crazy.
I'm going to show you this one news article, and then we'll move directly into Tamara Lich and Chris Barber sentencing tomorrow. With great trepidation, we approached this. And I saw this morning, and if you are a subscriber to Rebel Buzz, that's our daily email of news we think you need to know. This should have been in there. It's an article from City News. A Quebec woman sentenced after pleading guilty to terrorism offense. Now, what kind of sentence? 1 day. She pled guilty on Monday to 1 count of participating in activities of a terrorist group, namely ISIS, you know, the one behind the genocide of Christians and Yazidis and Kurds.
The bad guys. The bad guys.
Super bad. I witnessed the aftermath of that genocide, by the way, personally with my own 2 eyes in Iraqi Kurdistan. Umaima Shawe, 29, left Canada for Syria to join ISIS, knowing that she would have to marry an ISIS fighter and raise the next generation of ISIS fighters, according to ISIS doctrine, according to an agreed statement of facts. Quebec Superior Court has ruled out any suspicion of having directly participated in terrorist activities. I think birthing the next generation and providing care and comfort to ISIS fighters is direct participation in terrorist activities, but what do I know? I'm not a judge. She was sentenced to 1 day of incarceration, in addition to the 110 days she spent in pretrial detention, along with a 3-year probation order and various conditions. She must avoid any direct or indirect contact with individuals or groups linked to extremism and must continue to participate in therapy that promotes depolarization. She was arrested at Trudeau International Airport, returning from ISIS in 2022. 1 day.
Sheila, this is a terrorist that was sentenced to a sleepover. You guys, this is a terrorist who was sentenced to a sleepover. What?
She went to Syria to join ISIS. ISIS, of the propaganda video of the guy who subsequently became a Canadian citizen who was butchering a crucified prisoner. They burned the Christians. They destroyed their communities. They dug up their dead. They sex slaves.
ISIS invented the beheading video. Okay, these are the people that we're talking about. And so here you have a woman who was literally
who saw that and was like, me too,
in bed with ISIS, getting sentenced to a sleepover. Okay, 1 day is good enough for you, girlfriend. You learned your lesson. Away you go. Shoo shoo. Off to counseling. Off to DEI counseling for you. Re-education counseling. Holy crap! And then contrast this.
Yep.
Okay, with our next, with the thing we're going to talk about next, which is the Crown's ask to have Chris Barber sentenced to 8 years and Tamara Lich sentenced to 7 years.
Yeah.
For hot tubs and bouncy castles that interrupted the fancy lives of Ottawa bureaucrats. Contrast those two things. Like, square that circle for me, Canada. How does this at all make sense?
Yeah. And we've got Tamara. She just arrived in Ottawa yesterday night. She drove across the country.
For the umpteenth time.
Yeah. And she says, after 3 long days on the road, we've arrived in Ottawa. It's impossible to drive across this beautiful, rugged country and feel even an ounce of bitterness, she wrote. I've got much to catch up on, but first, sleep. She's handled this with just so much grace. I would be just full of bile and vitriol for everybody involved.
I'd be walking bitterness. I'd be
Oh,
a
yeah.
walking squeezed lemon is what I'd be.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the reason why one day in Western Canada we're going to see statues of that woman.
Yep.
You're going to put up bronze statues of that woman.
She also reacted to Poilievre's public support of her on X. She said, "It is with the deepest gratitude that I thank you for acknowledging and bringing awareness to the two-tiered legal system we are witnessing unfold in Canada. There's a fine line between politics and the judiciary, as there should be, and I have long understood the uncomfortable position elected officials find themselves in when commenting on cases that are before the court. In our case, the double standard and the vindictive nature from the prosecution office has become too obvious to ignore and will set a precedent going forward that will affect all Canadians who choose to peacefully protest or deter them from exercising their charter rights to peacefully assemble." Thank you, Mr. Poilievre. She's completely right.
Absolutely, yes. And all of the praise in the universe to the Conservative Party of Canada for jumping on this bandwagon ahead of the parade. It was Pierre Poilievre, it was Melissa Lantsman, it was Michelle Rampel-Gardner, it was Andrew Lawton, who all spoke out on this yesterday ahead of the sentencing hearing, which is
Dean Allison, I think, too.
Yes, amongst many others. Okay, amongst many others. And huge props to the Conservative Party of Canada, who are finding their balls post-election. It is this is the Conservative Party that we want to see. We want to see the Conservative Party of Canada doing what is right. Doing what is right, regardless of if they have the permission of the establishment or the corrupt mainstream media. Conservatives are thirsty to see the Conservative Party do the right thing, and in this case, they absolutely did.
Yeah, Deputy Leader Melissa Lantsman said, "Yup, violent criminals are back on the streets in hours. Anti-Semitic mobs block traffic, intimidate families, and trash businesses with zero consequences."
Let's go,
Meanwhile,
girl.
Meanwhile, the Crown wants 7- and 8-year prison sentences over a non-violent protest from 3 years ago. If the Crown suddenly wants to apply the law, equal application of law would be a good start. But this is political vengeance, not actual justice, and that's why trust in our institutions is dwindling. Yeah.
Girl, couldn't have said it better. Truly couldn't have said it better. And that really echoes what we've been saying for years, Sheila Gunn Reid. It really echoes what we've been saying for years. Conservative Party MPs should mirror the thoughts and opinions of the people that elected them. And this is a perfect example of them doing exactly that. I'd like to see them being brave like this on many issues, including gender in Canada.
Now, from the United States, Robert Barnes, he's a U.S. trial lawyer. He's sent a few tweets about this. We talked about one yesterday, but this is what he posted in response to the U.S. revoking visas for a Brazilian judge and his allies over Bolsonaro prosecution. And he says we should do the same to Canada for wrongful prosecution of trucker convoy leaders.
You hearing this, Americans? Yes, absolutely yes.
If Russia did this to people involved in peaceful anti-government protests, Mark Carney would lose his marbles and Melanie Joly would go into overdrive. But because it's happening here at the hands of the Liberals and by extension, Doug Ford's Crown, it's just the Canadian legal system at work.
Yeah, it gets a free pass, and it should not get a free pass. And that's a crazy thing, is we've seen steady yet incremental destruction of trust in our public institutions, to the point where when even crazy, hideous, unforgivable things happen, Canadians are like, well, that's just the way it works. It actually doesn't anywhere else in the world. And we've let them get away with so much corruption, that we don't see the most blatant examples when they're shown to us unvarnished. And so to put a fine point on it, yeah, the United States should do something. Yes, they should.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to show you how bad this is. Like how bad is the Crown asking for 7 and 8 years, respectively, for Leach and Barber, plus crushing Chris's truck. Paul Champ, the lawyer crazy person, okay, for the busybodies, worrywarts, and well-kept public sector bureaucrats in downtown Ottawa, he says that the Crown is way out of line. So he's saying Leach and Barber sentencing will take place this week. There's no question it was serious, and they have spent 3 years showing the opposite of remorse for what they did to the people of Ottawa. Nothing happened to the people of Ottawa. They were inconvenienced.
Right.
But an 8-year sentence is ridiculous. In my opinion, no custody for Leach, 6 months for Barber.
So even their acolytes are saying this is crazy.
He's the guy suing the convoy for cajillions.
Well, this is like, never have we had a better example of a state-funded show trial in the history of the world. Okay, we know that show trials exist, but we as Canadians are used to seeing those show trials happening, you know, typically in America, where they're a little bit more litigious than we are. Here in Canada, we have the greatest example of an absolutely unhinged and unmitigated disaster of a show trial, because this never was about getting justice for the poor inconvenienced people for Ottawa.
The victims here was the government.
Right. And so this is an action by the state to do, I think, two things: to serve as a warning to Canadians to never ever cross the government like this again, and to do well, to put the fear of God in Canadians, that if they do, this is the exact treatment that you're going to get. But in any case, I'm sort of two minds of this. On one hand, I'm relieved that this chapter of Tamara and Chris's life is going to come to a close. We're going to have an answer tomorrow, regardless. But I am also very, very trepidatious about what might happen, because do we trust the government to do the right thing, Canada? Do we? No, of course we don't. We've seen them do the wrong thing for the last 10 years consistently. And I have no confidence that they're going to do the right thing tomorrow. So,
I just thought I would pull up the Toronto 18 terrorism case. 17 suspects were charged for attempting a terrorism plot in Toronto. And anyway, I'm just going back because I'm curious about what those people got. So in the summer of 2006, police carried out a massive anti-terrorism sweep in southern Ontario. 17 people, 13 adults and 4 youth were arrested in a series of June raids, and the 18th individual was detained 2 months later. So Toronto 18, it was a plan to bomb the Toronto Stock Exchange and other prominent buildings. The other was an attempt to create a large Al-Qaeda type cell in Toronto. Well, I think they've sort of accomplished that. They played the long game on this. To arm themselves with weapons, then create some sort of mayhem that would scare the Canadian public into withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. I'm curious what the sentences ended up. 7.5 years, 12 to 18 years, 7 years. So the Crown is asking for terrorism-related sentences.
Why has Doug Ford not smacked the ass of the people that would have done this and dragged this out over this many years? How many years are we on? 3 years? Tens of millions of taxpayer dollars spent on this persecution. Where is Doug Ford in this? Yeah. Aside from lumbering off to pride parades and making fancy announcements that he loves Mark Carney, where the hell is he? This is so important. Where is Doug Ford?
So the Toronto 18, they plotted an Al-Qaeda terror attack, 2 separate ones, in favor of Al-Qaeda. And, you know, the sentencing range goes from 6.5 years all the way up to, 2.5 years, all the way up to, I think, 20 years in prison. So the mean is sort of around 6.5, 7 years for a lot of these guys. And the Crown is asking for...
They were going to kill people. They were going to kill people.
Hundreds. And so the Crown is asking for sedition-style sentencing for mischief charges. So they are being sentenced for the crime the Crown wishes they could have charged them with.
So while law is supposed to create order, what sentencing, what is it, Sheila, recommendations like this from the Crown does is actually erode Canadians' trust in the entire system. Okay,
Yep.
because we are seeing this happen in live time. We are keeping up to this case like it impacts all of us, because it does. If anything, this is one of those very rare cases where just regular everyday Canadians can actually see themselves in the position of either Tamara Leach or Chris Barber. Okay,
Yep.
Everybody can sort of see themselves in the position that these two are now in, and making a sentencing recommendation like this is, well, number one, it's unforgivable, number one, but it also devalues the entire system of law and order. This is law and chaos. Okay, doing things like this creates chaos and creates a deep distrust amongst everyday regular Canadians when it does not make sense to them. And this sentencing recommendation from the Crown that Doug Ford could have intervened in doesn't make sense to any common sense Canadian. It is ridiculous.
It brings the administration of justice into disrepute.
Does it ever?
Okay, let's hit this last thing because it's in the YouTube headline, and then we will get to the chats, a couple of chats there, and then I found the Daily Cringe because it is a bitter, bitter, bitter man being bitter, and it's good.
Can't wait.
Okay, so this is from Blacklocks. Foreigners in Canada on temporary permits are the equivalent of 18.5% of the private sector workforce. Newly released figures show. Immigration Minister Lena Diab's department, in a briefing note, counted 3,049,277 temporary residents, including more than 129,000 now in Canada illegally due to expired permits. So that is like 3.2.
Oh my God.
Illegal temporary workers. And so Michelle Rempel-Garner, she's the immigration critic. She says, want to fix, and she makes an excellent point. This isn't just about like, how do we house all these people? How do we give all these people healthcare? How do we put them on the roads? Like, if you dealt with Toronto traffic, it's heart palpitating. But she says, want to fix Canada's jobs crisis? Nearly 1 in 5 workers aren't Canadian. They're foreigners here on temporary visas. This suppresses wages and takes jobs from Canadians. Liberals must remove people with expired permits and massively curtail issuing new ones now. Yeah.
1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Well, those numbers, I think, mirror the numbers of Canadians that work for the government. So 1 in 5 Canadians right now work for some level of government. And when government grows like that, what it is a guaranteed vote for the government that hired you and keeps you employed. So not only is this grossly overinflated and does not keep up with the infrastructure needs that all of those people would come to Canada with, you know, they're not just here for jobs. They're going to access healthcare. They're going to access education. They're going to access roads. They're going to access, you know, the full suite of things that come with being a Canadian. But what this does is it guarantees votes for the people that brought them here. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Like I was looking, I just noticed something the other day. I don't remember that the last time I had my oil changed from someone who wasn't a temporary foreign worker. And that spans multiple oil change places. And when I was a younger
Is that
person,
right?
these were the jobs of 16-year-old high school boys
that we're going to go into mechanics. Yep, that's exactly right. That was your starter position, your entryway into a career in mechanics and automotive repair and all of those delicious trades.
Useful
And
trades.
now, yes.
Yeah.
And now, that's interesting though, because it would be part of the automotive sector. Like it would be considered part of the automotive sector. So what you actually did, Sheila, was identify that the automotive sector is benefiting from employing temporary foreign workers as part of their subsidized workforce.
Right.
And does that surprise you? Like, does that surprise you that the automotive sector is participating in this? Absolutely not.
I don't know. The left told me they were against slavery, but they're creating a slave underclass of non-citizens who do the jobs that they think their kids won't do, but sure as hell my kids would do.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway. Let's go into the Daily Cringe. And the Daily Cringe today there's 2 videos. Comes to us by way of the people who are deeply saddened by the cancellation of Stephen Colbert, one of them being Stephen Colbert himself.
Oh.
Now, I don't even remember the show. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Oh, it was just so cringy. Yeah, the whole thing was just
I couldn't even watch it. It wasn't funny. It was just, and I don't have a problem with people making fun of conservatives or whatever. Like I don't care.
It was but it wasn't it deviated from its purpose. It was supposed to be entertaining and funny, and it turned into a 1-hour left-wing pundit show. That's what happened. Yeah.
Right. Its greatest crime was that it was unfunny, and I think it lost $40 million last year. And so Trump sort of took a victory lap around this nonsense, and of course he did.
Yeah.
But Stephen Colbert, newly unemployed, and this I think is a perfect synopsis of why he's unemployed.
Yeah.
But this is him. Oh, I should warn everybody, there's going to be some rough language here because these people don't know how to behave themselves, even on TV. So this is him responding to Trump taking a victory lap around him.
On Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go yourself. Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. The president went on, "I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next." Nope, no, absolutely not, Kimmel. I am the martyr, okay? Okay, there's only room for one on this cross, and I gotta tell you, the view is fantastic from up here. I can see your house.
That is so painfully awkward.
It is really, really the worst. Yeah, it is really the worst. But it is telling that he's taking martyrdom very seriously and that he's wearing this like a badge of honor. But the best part is Stephen Colbert is not going to be the only one losing his job in these next couple of weeks in left-wing media scape in the United States of America. Donald Trump's rescission package, which was approved late last week, thoroughly defunds NPR and public media. This is the National Public Radio in the United States and National Public Broadcasters in the United States, which are vapid, insane leftists. And Donald Trump just took away all of their money. So to Stephen Colbert and every vapid left-wing media activist that's been allowed to ride the gravy train for the last 60 or so years, your time's up. Your time's up.
Yeah, I saw the Voice of America employee, that's another public broadcaster in the United States.
Yep, a show. Yep.
he was using their resources, like company resources, to threaten Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes. Yes.
And he was charged for it. It's like, should anybody be forced to pay for this? By the way, I hear Jeff Bezos' wife has lots of money. Bill Gates has lots of money. Go rattling those chains to get them to pay for this stuff. Or you know what? Pay for it yourself.
That's exactly
American
right.
leftists.
Earn it. If you're gonna produce content that's good enough for people to pay for, well then good for you. But to expect, and we're talking decades. They've received decades of funding. They better do a better job starting right now.
We've got one more quick little cringy from on the same topic from Andy No. Leftist protesters with Refuse Fascism held a protest blaming President Trump for CBS canceling Stephen Colbert's failing show. Colbert forever. This is just so yuck.
It's so cringy. Isn't that so cringy?
The show has been losing millions every year for many years. The cancellation is being called fascist by the protesters. Is this what they're trying to say, that CBS is in the pocket of the president? Is that like the logic leap they're trying to make there? Because I don't think that's true.
That's what they would have you believe. That's what they would have you believe, when in fact CBS made a business decision, okay, to cut dead weight in a non-performing show that hemorrhaged money. Because to produce one of these late night shows with the teams of writers and the teams of costumers and the makeup and the hair and the camera and the producers and the guy that holds the signs, is millions of dollars a year. This is capitalism gone right. When you produce a product that nobody watches, you're not going to make money, and the market will decide. And the market did decide. So kudos to the the movers and shakers at the top of CBS who just went, oh God, we're just gonna cut this and run. Yeah, it is sad though, because the Late Show has been a flagship show of CBS for decades.
Yeah, Colbert.
All it took was one vapid leftist to ruin it for everybody. Don't forget, kids, communism never pays.
Well, yeah, this is what happens when you alienate half your audience.
Yeah. Yes, exactly this. Johnny Carson, I saw a little clip about him, and he said that he absolutely refused to get involved in hot button topics because people that do that can't remove their ego from the entire process. It removes the funny, right? When you involve your ego, when you go out and be like, I am the smartest person in this room, there's no way that you can be funny and also serve your ego. And so that's what made him so successful.
I love that they spelled comedians wrong. Silencing comedians is no joke. No, but your spelling is. Lady.
Oh, the daily cringe. Anyway, best of luck, Stephen Colbert. Best of luck.
Start a YouTube channel, buddy.
Yeah.
We've got a chat here from Don Allen, $5. I don't see a chat there, but he did send us a super chat, and we appreciate him for that.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
I believe Efron is just checking to see if we have. Oh, we've got another one. Cicely gives us. Oh my goodness, you guys, very generous. They're rolling in. Cicely, you donate all the time. You're a staunch supporter of the things that we do here at Rebel News, and we appreciate you for it. And she gives us $10 and says, just wanted to support you two ladies and Rebel. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Cicely. Thank you.
Bobby S87 gives us $20 and says, just sending you the biggest, warmest, friendliest hug ever, because I feel like you can use one. Sheila, you look really stressed out yesterday. Well, hosting with David will do that to a girl. You never know if this is the day the YouTube channel just goes live.
That's the beauty of our David Menzies. Just never know.
No. I try to be the brakes to his gas pedal. And then he says, also sending one your way, least. Love you guys. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, friend Bobby. Bobby's our buddy. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, buddy.
Bonnie Denolition gives us $20. Don't worry. Here in Battle River Crowfoot, we know how to read. I'm
Who said
that? Bonnie Denolition says, "Don't worry, we here in Battle River Crowfoot know how to read."
Nice, Bonnie.
Yeah. I'm obviously disgusted by this long ballot thing. The voting process will take forever. I will take a lunch while I wait in line. Yeah. It's such disrespect to the voter.
Since 2017, don't forget Canada, while they undertake 7-year DEI plans, since 2017, the longest ballot committee got the laws changed to benefit them.
Yeah, they're just running amok. JP Power gives us $5 and says, "I think you two are the best hosts. Y'all get the energy on going."
Oh, thank you. This is just us in real life. Like, welcome to our real life relationship where we just, on the show, we just swear less.
It's true. We swear less, Lee smokes less.
It's true. If you want to see us in life, it's just like this with a bunch more more colorful language. But we're just so happy to entertain you guys. Like you know, that you like it is just such a compliment. Thank you guys.
Yeah. I'm a non-smoker, but I am the most pro-smoking non-smoker you'll ever meet. And
she supports me in all of my French habits. Yes, that's right. Just a glass of wine in one hand and a cigarette in the other, and then we talk politics. It's just the best.
Yeah, and after a couple hours, there is like an outline of Lise in cigarette butts on the ground around her. It's like the Shroud of Turin in cigarette butts all around her on the ground.
It's like an archaeological adventure. That's what I'm doing. They're just leaving an archaeological footprints that one day, 10,000 years from now, an archaeologist is going to come and be like, she was right here.
She was right here.
That's her lipstick on those cigarette butts. That's right.
It's true. We can tell her low-carb friend was here from all the Michelob Ultras.
We really are the best time in real life, and you guys just get to see it. Like, we're just so happy to have you join us in what we do every day. So thanks, guys.
We make friends in every little campsite we tootle to.
Do we ever?
Yep. Aleha says you can get crack fentanyl at the corner 7-Eleven, but it's illegal to get raw milk from farmers. Yeah. Venezuela here, and I see many red flags in Canada that remind me of Venezuela.
That's not the first time we've heard that, Alejandra. That's not the first time we've heard that. People that come from communist countries have warned us that there are red flags happening in Canada right now that mirror what happened in their country as they slip down the slippery slope of communist authoritarianism.
Yeah, more people get sick from lunch meats every year than they do raw milk. But
raw milk, yeah, that's exactly right.
Raw milk is outside the cartel. So,
but great comment. Thanks so much for sharing it.
Yep. Okay. Efron, is that are we all caught up on the chats? Very generous bunch today. Appreciate
love you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and very kind. Full of the compliments. Appreciate that. I think that's it. If we missed some of your comments, I'm sure Efron will round them up and we'll talk about them tomorrow because I'm back tomorrow with my friend Lise. Lise, thanks so much for coming on this ride with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Sheila Gunn Reid in Canada. Don't forget to join us tomorrow where we will or should have the Tamara Leach, Chris Barber sentencing discovery tomorrow. At this time, same place, same time tomorrow. Big show.
I'm already
tomorrow.
Feeling yucky about it.
I'm very unsettled by the whole thing, but there is the way to work through that, Canada, and it is together. Okay, we'll figure it out together. That's on tomorrow's show.
I have the same trepidation that I felt before the election, where I knew it was bad.
I'm so happy you said that because that is the exact thing that I'm feeling. Just a sense of unease, and I feel very unsettled about the whole thing because we know that the stakes are so very high for what happens tomorrow. As we all sort of sign off today, everybody just send your best thoughts, and if you're praying in person, do send them to our friends Tamara and Chris. They have been through the ringer at the behest of our government, and
on behalf of you.
Yeah.
On behalf of all of us, they they're taking the hit for all of us, and don't forget their families behind the scenes.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Remember them in your thoughts and prayers tonight.
Yeah.
And we'll see you here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you guys here tomorrow. Try not to be as depressed as we sound right now.
We still have each other. We still have each other.
We're gonna find out tomorrow. And honestly, I don't think Chris and Tamara regret a thing. So it is what it is, and it's all over but the sentencing, and we'll find out tomorrow. We'll have our rebels on the scene. Ezra will be there in the courtroom. The billboard truck will be outside, and Alexa Lavoie will be outside covering the certain crowd of people that show up to support Tamara and Chris as they hold their heads high and walk into that courtroom to find out their fate. So we'll meet back here tomorrow, and we'll just we'll be cool till tomorrow. Efron, everybody who works behind the scenes at Rebel News, thank you so much for all the work that you do to make us look smart, despite the fact that I lost track of time in 5 seconds at the beginning of the show. That's ridiculous.
It's a new
What's
record.
my attention span of a gnat? We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as my friend David Menzies always says, stay safe and stay sane.